Alright guys, welcome back to Legends of Evil, where I talk about some of the best villains outside of comics. And today I'm going to be talking about none other than my favorite Star Wars character. Yes, this is my favorite Star Wars character. And that character is Emperor Palpatine, aka Darth Sidious. Yes. Yeah, I know, it's a shock. The Emperor is my favorite Star Wars character. And let me go into why, real quick. You see, the thing is that it didn't start out that, the Emperor was not my favorite character. He was up there. I wouldn't say, top 10. But eventually, as I read through more of the extended universe, as well as, I went back and looked at the prequel movies, you gotta admit that Palpatine was probably the best thing one of the best things in the prequels. And you go into the extended universe and you see how the machinations of the Sith worked and how he used how he just perfectly manipulated everyone and everything around him into becoming the Emperor. Had it not been for his own arrogance, the Sith would have endured for, the Sith Empire, his version of the Sith Empire may have gone on further. But yeah, let's talk about Darth Sidious. Now, Darth Sidious was a boy by the name of Sheev Palpatine. Yeah, his first name is Sheev. We find that in the Tarkin novel. But yeah, Sheev Palpatine was a boy growing up on Naboo. His father was pretty much an asshole, but eventually he found a certain person by the name of Higo Damask, aka Darth Plagueis, found him, and one of his first order of business after making Palpatine his apprentice was like, hey, go kill your family to pledge your loyalty to me. And he's like, okay, and he slaughtered his whole family and left with Higo to go on to more or less create the Grand Plan, which was of course the Clone Wars, and would eventually lead to the Empire, the creation of the Empire. Now the thing with Palpatine was that he was basically a Force prodigy. He was very well endowed in the Force. However, the problem was that while he was gaining political power, he started to gain political power throughout it all. Plagueis, his master Plagueis, was basically there to, while he was off, doing all of his science stuff, he basically left Plagueis to his own demise. Sidious. Yeah, Plagueis left Sidious to climb the political ladder and eventually lead to, the whole thing of him becoming Chancellor. And now in Plagueis' mind, after he killed his master and became the Dark Lord, he had it in his head that the rule of two was over. The rule of two died with his master, and Plagueis wanted to create a new Sith order. And through Palpatine, he wanted to manipulate Palpatine to become like the co-Grand Chancellor. Even though, as his true self, Higo Damask. Remember, Higo Damascus was not human, he was a Mun. He was a member of the banking clan. And he had a lot of money. And he was doing a lot of funding for Palpatine. Think of the best way you could describe Palpatine's rise was, and it's explained further in Darth Plagueis, which I'll eventually get in. Don't worry, I'll do a review of Darth Plagueis novel, the Darth Plagueis novel eventually, because I just got it, and once I read through it, I'll do a review of it. But yeah, long story short, it was kind of like Frank Underwood rising to power in House of Cards. That's kind of how you could look at it. The Star Wars version of House of Cards with with Palpatine's rise. So, and you got to remember that this Plagueis was alive during the events of Phantom Menace, while the while Palpatine Palpatine revealed himself to be to Newt Gunray and the rest of the Trade Federation, had Maul as his apprentice, as well as, already talked to Count Dooku to joining them. Plagueis was like, yeah, that's great, Palpatine, you're going to do all this stuff for me, and I'm going to learn how to use midichlorians to manipulate life and death. That didn't go well with Plagueis, because, yeah, Plagueis had served his purpose in Sidious's eyes, and how, Palpatine said that... Remember how he said that, Plagueis died in his sleep peacefully? Well, his apprentice killed him in his sleep. It didn't exactly go that way. I'll explain further when I get to the review for the Darth Plagueis novel, but let's just say he died, but it wasn't exactly peaceful. Yeah. So, anyway, with Plagueis gone, and, Palpatine finally becoming Chancellor, he now could put his true machinations into play. With that, obviously he had Maul reveal that the Sith had returned, and of course Obi-Wan killed Maul, and that was his whole thing that Palpatine played at, was that, Maul's whole purpose, the whole reason I wanted to keep him, was to reveal that the Sith were out there. Now the people know they're out there, his usefulness has been left out, has been lived out. So then he went on to Count Dooku and made him into Darth Tyrannus, and pretty much manipulated Tyrannus to make it look like that he was the true Sith Lord, and Maul was his apprentice, and now Dooku was the Sith Lord, more or less creating the Separatist army. However, what the Jedi didn't know was that and this is explained in the Clone Wars animated series, that basically Dooku killed Sifo Dyas and then took his identity to go to Kamino and create the clone army and put the program of Order 66 in the clone's head. So when the time comes, what happens when Order 66 happened. But yes, also while this is going on, Sidious and Tyrannus were going around, spreading not just the Trade Federation, but the Techno Union, the Banking Clan, multiple other star systems and other groups into creating the Separatists, and eventually creating, leading to the Clone Wars. The reason why the Clone Wars, and you might be thinking, and this is true that on some occasions, like, why would you spend so much time, building an army if you're just going to fight it anyway? That's the thing, is that even though it would cause a lot of, that was the whole point. That was the whole point of the Clone Wars to Sidious, was that he was going to cause so much strife and distress throughout the galaxy, basically have the whole galaxy turn on each other, and have the Jedi so far spread thin that he basically would gain more power in the Senate. The shroud of the dark side could basically shroud everyone from what he was doing. He was gaining longer terms in the Galactic Senate, and when the time came, he could, that gave him a lot more leeway into making it into an empire and becoming the Emperor. So, you gotta give it to the guy that he was thinking, 9 steps ahead of everybody. And you may be wondering why the Jedi never really discovered, oh god, we're talking to the Sith Lord the whole time, and then you have that moment of, you facepalm almost in Revenge of the Sith, where they're like, you're the Sith Lord! Fucking really? Well, here's the thing, and it's explained in Labyrinth of Evil, also created by James Luceno, the author of the Darth Plagueis novel. In that story, it's basically explained that the reason why the Jedi never really suspected that Sidious was the Sith, that Palpatine was the Sith Lord, was mostly because they were so set in their ways. They always assumed that if the Sith were to return, they would just go out and just announce themselves and just go smash, 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 smash. They would be like, the Sith are just too stupid and set in their ways to, do something this manipulative. This gave, obviously, because again, Yoda was a very old Jedi, and he was very old and set in his ways, and the rest of the Council were very old, and, the whole Jedi Order was very set in their ways. So when they're talking to, Palpatine and all that, the reason why was because, not only because Palpatine could hide his connection with the Force so well, that was a unique ability that he had. Apparently, he had the ability to hide his Force-sensitive powers from, the rest of the Jedi, but also because, the Jedi always assumed, the Sith are just a bunch of big angry brutes, and they're just gonna come out of nowhere and start smashing everything. They're too stupid to, think of something this grandiose. That's what more or less led to the fall of the Jedi. And of course, Sidious already had a plan for everybody. He had a plan for Maul, he had a plan for Dooku. He basically told Dooku, we're going to create a new Sith Order, and you're going to be my apprentice, and once we get Anakin to the dark side, he's going to become our general. He's going to become our commanding officer in the new Sith Empire. Didn't go so well for Tyrannus. After, the Clone Wars are coming to an end, that means no more usefulness for you. Bye. Yep. And of course, his connection with Anakin, he started off very young, And the other thing was that he was, someone Anakin could talk to. It wasn't, you see, you gotta remember, back in, Phantom Menace, he was about 9, 10 years old when, Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon took him to be trained as a Jedi. By then, he could have people, he had his mother to talk to, he had friends he could talk to about his problems. Now, you see, with the Jedi, it's a lot different. It's not, you could tell them something, and, Obi-Wan or Yoda or something like that would just be like, oh, the Force guides us, and, the Force will reveal itself. You are the chosen one. Yeah, well, that BS doesn't exactly work when it's not droned in your head for so long. Remember, he was old enough. He could talk to people. Not like, people who just believe in the Force, but normal people about, his big problems that, the Force just could not fix. So, Palpatine was like a good friend to him. He was like someone he could come over anytime to, whenever Palpatine was doing, he'd be like, oh, Anakin, it's nice to see you, let's talk. This is why Anakin revealed, outside of Padme, just to Sidious, just to Palpatine, that, he killed all those Sand people. Because he could talk about it like a normal person and not be judged by it and kind of damned by it, And Sidious, like I said, this guy has the wheels in his head were turning the moment he knew about, Anakin. When he figured out, oh, Anakin's going to be very powerful, I'm going to have him on my side. But yeah, from Maul and Tyrannus, bye. Now, in terms of power that Sidious had, like I said, this dude was a fucking prodigy of the Force. Even Plagueis realized that. But the thing is that Plagueis was too stupid to realize how powerful his apprentice was and not try to keep him under his thumb. Sidious could easily master the ways of the dark side of the Force. I mean, the dude already knew how to do Force lightning and shit very early in his life. So, through that, in one person called Sidious a black void. He was that in tune with the dark side. He was just this black void that just destroyed everything in his path. That was how connected he was to the dark side of the Force. And not only that, he was also an amazing lightsaber duelist. He didn't, unlike most Jedi and Sith who have one form, Sidious did a mix of all different Sith styles. Most Sith forms are it's either heavy defense or heavy offense. The thing with Sidious was that this dude learned and created his own Sith saber style, which made him so powerful. I mean, remember in Revenge of the Sith where he just KO'd 3 Jedi Masters like it was nothing? The only problem he had with Mace Windu was with Mace Windu, and that was because, well, Mace Windu's Jedi saber form is close to Sith style. So that's why they could, he could keep, a pace with Palpatine. But you do get the sense after he goes the whole power, unlimited power moment, you kind of get the sense that, well, this was the ultimate moment where he could get Anakin to join him, and he could have wasted Mace Windu any time he wished. That's what I'm kind of that's what you kind of guess, is that this dude, Sidious could have wasted Mace Windu. He just wanted to see Anakin come in, and, this was his final test to have him join the dark side. That's what it kind of appropriated to. So through that, obviously with with the new Empire and him as the new Emperor, for 19 years they ruled, him and Vader ruled with an iron fist. And even from that, after the creation of the Death Star, again, another project that, he had already planned on building for years to come. And after that was constructed, he dismantled the Galactic Senate, only to have it blown up, shortly after its construction. And now, the whole point was that, once I'm done with the Galactic, once the Death Star is done, the Galactic Senate's going to be over, I can be the sole leader of the Empire, leader of the Empire, and if anyone has a problem with that, bye-bye, planet! You see what I did to Alderaan? I'm going to do that to you now. But with the Death Star destroyed, it didn't exactly turn out that way. And from there, of course, he went on throughout the rebellion, silently, still manipulating Vader and trying to get Luke to join on the dark side. After, in the original cut, we already had that the Emperor wanted Luke dead, but it was Vader who said, what if he could, be turned? You know, what if he could be turned to the dark side? All in all, Sidious, had it not been for his own arrogance, he was very close to, ruling the universe for as long as his lifespan permitted. And, yeah, like I said, despite his old age, even Vader knew that the Emperor was still a force to be reckoned with. You look at, Sidious in the later, in other stuff in the original trilogy, where he's just like this gangly, ball-sack-looking motherfucker, with a dark robe, and you're thinking, I could take him. No, you could not. Because even though he didn't really do a lot of lightsaber dueling, this dude knew how to fight. This dude was so in tune with the dark side that he could just kill you with a blink of an eye if he wanted to. That's how in tune he was with the power of the Sith. And again, had it not been for his own arrogance, he would have kept on ruling. And even after his rule, he had clones of himself in the Dark Horse Extended Universe. He even went on to do, even in the Shattered Empire, I haven't read it, but what I'm told is that he had multiple plans, starting with his home planet of Naboo, already in plan in case of his death. Again, I haven't read the Marvel comic Star Wars Shattered Empire, but what I'm told is that he had some pretty devious plans for, in case of his death. So even from beyond the grave, Sidious proved that he was a true force to be reckoned with. But anyway, so hope you all enjoyed this. This was a lot of fun to talk about. I know the Emperor is like a character. People are like, it's the Emperor, he's barely in anything, and the prequels weren't that good. I like to think that this dude was a chess player, and had it not been for his own, his own pompous thought that the dark side could live forever, and he was the true, the one true Sith Lord, the Empire could have lasted a lot longer than it should have. And, yeah, this dude gracefully manipulated everybody and everything around him into getting that role of having an empire. So, yeah, this is why I like him, because this dude, he kind of won. Yeah, the bad guys won, and even from the beyond the grave, by the looks of the First Order, he's still laughing from beyond the grave. So yeah. So anyway, guys, what do you guys think of Darth Sidious? Do you guys like him, hate him? Just comment below, let me know, and once again, hope you all enjoyed this segment, and I will see you guys later.